As we begin a new week, I want to ask you one question. Will you just begin? Begin without the certainty of success. Begin knowing that you may fail. Begin knowing that you might have to start again. Begin without anyone believing in you but you. I'm not asking you to look ahead to 1 month, 6 months, or even a year down the road. I'm talking about just today. To just begin whatever it is that you need to begin to take your life to the next level. Is that getting out for a run? Making that phone call you've been putting off? Starting the screenplay you've been wanting to write? Signing up for that web development course? Just begin is about taking that first step. It lets you steel yourself to face the doubt, the naysayers, and the setbacks. But here's the best part when you let yourself just begin. You bring the joy. Joy in living the life you've imagined for yourself. Joy in doing what you love. I know it's not easy. Every day I face doubt as I sit down to write. Every day I have to talk myself into going to the gym because I am intimidated by everyone who seems to know what they're doing. Every time I get ready to press record, my inner critic starts swinging, trying to knock me out with questions like, who do you think you are? And why would anyone listen to you? Still, I just begin. Because I'm doing what I love. It doesn't matter how many people like or read my books. I can't worry about how many people view my videos. I just begin because this is what I've been called to do. And if there's only one person who takes something away from what I write or share, then I have done what I'm supposed to do. When you just begin, it means you're showing up. And I understood that when I read Tim Grover's book, Winning the Unforgivable Race to Greatness. And Grover writes, showing up is in your control in every way. It means being present, physically and mentally, when you'd rather be doing something else, putting your long-term goals ahead of short-term pleasures, controlling those pleasures for the long run, staying in the race when you're hurting and struggling, because one day you won't be able to show up and it won't be your choice. I'll leave you with the same question I asked earlier. Will you just begin? A lot of people know that they need to change. I'm one of those people. And if you've ever tried to change something in your life and you haven't succeeded, you know that change is hard. And there are a lot of reasons, or better yet excuses, that we come up with to make us believe the stories we tell ourselves about why change is hard. The people in our lives who don't support us or don't believe in us, the discomfort that gives us pause and consequently invites us to give up. We compare ourselves to those in our field who we consider successful, and then we wonder why we haven't yet found that magic sauce. But if we want to change, if we truly are committed to changing our habits, our thinking, our way of being, then here's the hard truth. We must first master ourselves. I'm not a baseball fan, and I didn't know a lot about Lou Gehrig other than amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, commonly known as ALS, had first been named after him. I'm going to mention one of my favorite authors, Ryan Holiday, and it wasn't until I read his book, Discipline is Destiny, that I learned more about Gehrig. As a baseball player, Gehrig played 2,130 games in a row. When Gehrig got hit by a baseball, he was on the field the next day. Gehrig had learned to master the self. With all the physical issues that Lou Gehrig had to deal with, he showed through his body what he was willing to put up with and what he was willing to go without. He loved the game. And the proof lies in everything he did to play those 2,130 games. It's easy to say that we want to change, but it's not easy to actually do it. Regrettably for me, it was a lesson a long time in the making, but I learned that if I want to bring my dreams to life, I have to be my own manager and my own cheerleading squad. If I'm tired in the afternoon and I'm tempted to nap, I have to push myself to stand up and stretch and drink some water. 2 nights ago, I was up late getting things done, and when I woke up the following morning, I had overslept. I am used to waking up without an alarm, and so I told myself that, hey Marcus, it's okay, you don't have to go to the gym today. Go or not go, I'm the only one who knows that I've made that commitment to myself. And if I didn't go, then I'm sacrificing my fitness goals. So I went. When I'm writing, I'm the one who has to disconnect the internet and use all necessary tools to block all distractions. If I don't, it's going to take me longer to complete the project that I'm working on, or what I do right isn't going to be worth the paper that it's written on. Here's what sucks. Here's what makes change so uncomfortable. It's that there's no one there to check our progress, to push us beyond our limits. That's all on you. That's all on me. It's our responsibility and no one else's. It's a slow process, but I am learning to master the self. Some days are easier than others, and those bad days where I struggle to keep the commitments that I've made to myself, it does feel like they are becoming less and less frequent. But just like you, I owe it to myself to push through, to keep going, to not give up. Because to master the self is the pathway to discipline, and discipline is the best way to create the life we imagine for ourselves. So let's go. You might not believe this, but you're making choices every single day, even when you think you're stuck, and those choices are shaping your life right now. We don't have to be heading into a new year or facing a challenging situation to step back and ask ourselves, am I where I thought I'd be? Am I living the life I want? Maybe the answer is yes, maybe it's no. But what I've come to learn is no matter where you find yourself right now, you always have a choice. Every single day, you are faced with choices. Big ones, small ones, life-changing ones. Some of them feel overwhelming. Some of them feel soul-crushing, near impossible. And sometimes when you're stuck, it's easier to convince yourself that you don't have a choice. You've convinced yourself that the circumstances of your life are too heavy to push against. But that's not the truth. The truth, and you may not want to believe it, or you may not be ready to believe it, is you do have a choice. Always. I learned this lesson the hard way a few years ago. At the time, the world was still piecing itself back together after the pandemic. I was working in a job that drained me, the pay wasn't great, the environment was toxic, and my colleagues and I were demoralized. And to top it off one day, someone literally spat at me. That was when I had my come to Jesus moment. I had tolerated enough, and I knew I had a choice to make: keep suffering or walk away. And even though I didn't know what was next, I chose to walk away. That single choice, as scary as it was, changed everything. I think that Too often you forget that making a choice isn't just about saying no to what you don't want. It's also about saying yes to what you do want. And that is power. That's where vision comes in that moment when you take accountability for yourself. And without your vision, your choices feel random or disconnected, like you're just spinning in circles. But when you have even the faintest outline of a vision for your life, suddenly your choices have direction. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fully clear. My vision for my own life involves creative writing, physical training, and storytelling through videos. I know it's a bit messy, but messy is okay. Messy means you're alive, you're in the process, and you're all in, up to your elbows and ankle deep in the work of building the life you want. Messy means you're trying, and trying is how change begins. That's what I understood the first time I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, Be Useful. Because Schwarzenegger sees vision as the most important thing. Vision is purpose and meaning. To have a clear vision is to have a picture of what you want your life to look like and a plan for how to get there. And once you have even a glimpse of what you want your life to look like, you can start making choices that pull you closer to it instead of further away. One small choice today, another one tomorrow, and the day after that. And before you know it, you're no longer where you used to be. I want you to step back, as if you're a stranger looking at your life, and ask yourself, what choices are you avoiding right now? What choices are you pretending you don't have? Maybe it's walking away from that job that drains you. Maybe it's lacing up your shoes and training for that race you've always said you'd run someday. Maybe it's saying yes to yourself instead of constantly saying yes to everyone else. You always have a choice. And those choices, day by day, create the story of your life. Don't let fear or doubt keep you trapped in a life that doesn't feel like yours. Choose differently. Choose boldly. Choose in alignment with the vision you have for your life, even if it's still blurry. Because life is too short not to. So today, remember this. You are not stuck. You are not powerless. You always have a choice. The question is, what choice will you make today? I'm going to be dead soon. That's why carpe diem matters. It's not a cliche or a trite adage. It's a call to action, a challenge, a dare to stop waiting and to start living your life with intention. No one likes to think about mortality. I don't. Maybe you don't either. So most of us act, myself included, like we've got all the time in the world. We drift into what I call the tomorrow syndrome. I'll start my business tomorrow. I'll travel more tomorrow. I'll finally get back to the gym tomorrow. But who told you you'd be here tomorrow? Who guaranteed that next week, next year, the future you imagine is actually waiting on the other side? The only thing I know for sure is this. I'm going to be dead soon. Now, don't misunderstand me. I hope that's 40 or 50 years away, because I still have a lot I want to do. But life is not guaranteed. The clock is quietly ticking whether you notice it or not. I felt that most clearly earlier this year on my way to work. I was beating myself up, again, because I hadn't done as much as I thought I could. Because distractions kept winning. Because I reached for my phone when I promised myself I wouldn't. Because I stopped in the middle of tasks and couldn't find my flow again. Sometimes we get so fixated on the finish line, that big, glorious end result, that we forget about the work that gets us there. We picture ourselves crossing that finish line in record time and imagine the applause and recognition, but we often overlook the training runs, one after another, that got us there. We picture the gallery opening, but forget about the thousands of brushstrokes that made the paintings possible. When all we see is the distance between here and there, procrastination sneaks in. It's easier to wait, easier to say, I'll do it tomorrow, because tomorrow feels safe. Tomorrow keeps the risk at bay. But it's not about tomorrow. It's about today. It's about doing the thing whether you feel motivated or not, because today is all you actually have. It's all I actually have. So what do? Start small. Show up. Write one paragraph. Make one phone call. Take a single step toward the thing that matters. Repeat, build, protect the time like it's sacred. Because it is. Time is the currency you cannot earn back. If you want to live with less regret, you have to begin now. Not someday. Not next week. Today. Carpe diem doesn't mean living recklessly. It means living deliberately, choosing each day with purpose, choosing the work and the people that matter, and choosing to be present for the life you have. I'm going to be dead soon. That knowledge keeps me honest. It keeps me moving. What about you? Will you stop waiting? Will you start living with intention, with urgency, and with courage?